Hey, family, welcome back. If this is your first time here, I'm really glad you found this space. And if you've been walking with me for a while, you already know we don't do perfect over here. Let's get into it. I've been thinking about how to close this series. And if I'm honest, this doesn't feel like an ending, it feels like a shift. Because healing doesn't end, it changes you. And once you change, you don't go back. There's a version of me that used to survive everything, push through everything, carry everything, ignore everything. And for a long time, I thought that version of me was strong. But now I see it differently. She wasn't weak, she just didn't know she deserved better. Healing didn't make me a new person, it made me aware of what I feel, aware of what I need, and aware of what I tolerate. And awareness, it changes everything. Because once you see clearly, you can't unsee it. There are things I used to accept that I don't accept anymore. Not because I'm difficult, not because I've changed in a negative way, but because I've grown. And growth makes certain things feel uncomfortable that once felt normal. I used to ignore how things affected me. Now I notice. I used to stay quiet. Now I pause before I decide how I want to respond. And I used to carry everything alone. Now I recognize when I need the support. And I won't lie, there's grief in that. Grief for the version of you that didn't know better, grief for the things you tolerated, and grief for the time you spent surviving instead of living. But there's also peace, a different kind of peace. Not loud, not emotional, just steady. The kind of peace that comes from knowing yourself. I think one of the hardest parts of healing is realizing you can't go back to who you used to be. You can't unknow what you know, you can't unfeel what you feel, and you can't return to a version of yourself that ignored your own needs. And sometimes that makes you feel different. You respond differently, you move differently, you think differently. And not everyone understands that shift, but it doesn't make it wrong. Healing changes your standards, it changes your boundaries, it changes your relationships, and it changes your relationship with yourself most of all. I don't feel the need to explain myself the way I used to. I don't feel the need to prove my worth the way I used to. And I don't feel the need to carry everything the way I used to. And that's growth. Not loud growth, not visible all the time, but real. And if you've been on this journey with me through the healing series, I want you to take a moment and recognize something. You're not the same either. Even if it feels small, even if it feels quiet, something shifted. Maybe you're more aware, maybe you're more honest, or maybe you're starting to listen to yourself in a way you didn't before. And that matters more than you think. Because healing isn't about becoming perfect, it's about becoming present. Present with yourself, present with your emotions, and present in your life. And once you're present, you start living differently. So, no, I'm not who I was, and I'm not going back. Not because I have everything figured out, but because I know too much not to pretend I don't. And if you're in that space too, hold on to that. Even if it feels unfamiliar, even if it feels uncomfortable, and even if it feels like you're still figuring it out. You're not lost. You're just no longer the version of you that ignored yourself. And that's something to honor. This might be the end of the healing series, but it's the beginning of something else. A different kind of conversation, a deeper kind of honesty. And next, we're stepping into real life, relationships, marriage, the good, the hard, the honest, and so much more. And I want you to come with me into that space because healing, it doesn't stop here, it shows up in how we live. I'll talk to you next time. Let's heal and grow together. And thank you for joining me during the healing series. God bless.